I've been doing a ton of natural dyeing lately, so this week we're adding everything I've been working on to my sample book. Currently, I have all my samples on these pages just made from flimsy recycled packing paper, and I don't love the way they lay in the binder, and it's not really easy to see them and flip through them. So what I'm gonna be doing instead is cutting down some cardstock, and then I'm gonna hole punch along the edge to loop the threads through to tie off the end. So let's get started. First, I'm just using this plastic divider that came with the binder as a template for where to punch the holes. And then once I have one, I'll just copy it. And I don't want them the full length of the page because I'm going to add holes on the end like this, so that when I loop the threads through, they hang off the end, and then I can write my little bit of text here. So just looking at that, I think that's maybe not quite enough room for text. So I'm gonna make it a little wider. And I think that will be good to give me that much room off the edge for them to hang out, and then enough room to write. So I'm gonna make this one my template. And then for the spacing of the threads, I wanna make sure I have enough room to write. So I'm thinking each page will probably have about enough room for 8 samples. So in each of those blocks, I'll just do one hole punch, and then this will be my template. So now I'm going to copy that a few more times. And I'll probably do one more page of them. Now that I have all my templates ready, I'm going to start by just transferring any yarn that I have on my old sample pages over to the new template pages. So on my samples, I try and include as much information as possible, but I also tend to just wing things, so it's not always that much information. But usually I try and include the WOF, or the weight of fiber. So that's how much material you used in comparison to the weight of fiber. And then, of course, what I was actually dyeing with. So this first one was 400% weight of fiber, Nandina leaves and stems, not much color. And then this one, I did not measure the weight of fiber, and I did it as an alcohol extract. And then that was that same batch, just re-extracted. So I'm just going to actually do an arrow down. And I did that one with an iron modifier. And then the last one on here is privet. And then on this one, we have Tree of Heaven, which I did measure the weight of fiber, but it was absolutely ridiculous. I just threw all the leaves I had in there. So 1000% weight of fiber is so much material, it's kind of silly, but I got a nice color, so can't complain. And then the green one was that same dye batch, but with an iron modifier. And then this one was Madder Root Exhaust Bath. And that's from my hand spun shirt. So if you saw my hand spun shirt video, I threw in some wool in that same dye bath after it was finished. And I will probably add one of my new ones to this, but these are all the same yarn. And so then on the back of it, I'm gonna record the type of yarn. And I don't remember off the top of my head, but I kept the tag. So it is Bear Hair from Knit Picks. And it is 80% merino, and 20% angora. And that is also what most of these yarns are, except for the red. So all of these that I'm going to be adding are also that same Bear Hair yarn base. So now I'm just going to slide these out of the staples and try and loop them through onto here. I have them tied in little knots because of the way I cut it, but I should still be able to just pull the loop through. And the rest of these, I probably won't tie in a little knot, I'll just double over the loop. So then they'll hang off the end like that. And that is okay. I need to just pull a little less hard, but luckily I had one blank hole on the bottom. So I'm gonna actually just put this one down here and be more careful doing the rest of them, and it should be okay. So there's my first template done. And then for these two, because they're spinning samples and fabric samples, I think I'm gonna leave them as they are for now, just because like this one is way too big to fit through a hole punch, and with the fabric on them, I think it makes sense to leave these ones here. It was just getting a little unmanageable with that much. I mean, you can see they were taking up these 2 pages and laying really poorly in the notebook, and now they look like this. So I think I'm going to stick with this for all of my dyed yarn samples, and then maybe, at least for now, leave these ones like this. So now that that first one's done, I have all of these to cut pieces off and add to sample books. Some of them I have already done, but I am planning on using for this project. So this one was the Tree of Heaven with the iron modifier here. So that one's already done. And then any of the ones with the paper tag are ones I've already done. So that's the alcohol extract. And then the ones with the Scotch tape are the new ones. And then this one is that same alcohol extract second batch, but I did a second iron modifier on it to see if I could get a change in color. And the color is a little different. I think I am actually going to skip resampling that because it's so close. I don't think it's worth it. But the rest of these I have no samples for. So all of these I'm going to cut a section off, copy the info onto the page, and then they'll be ready for the book. I've got all my samples done, all the dust cleaned off my desk, and I'm ready to put them in the book. So let's see how they fit. Currently, this binder is kind of where I keep everything, but it is getting very full already. So I'm thinking what I might do soon is make it just my sample book, because my samples are growing very quickly and they take up a lot of space. So I think I'm going to, maybe in a future video even, make a different place to put all the other things I have in here so that it is just a book for my samples. But for right now, we are going to just try and cram them all in here and hope for the best. So now you can see all of the samples and the information really easily. They still hang out and down a little bit, but they don't flop around as much as these pages do. And these ones I'm okay with because there's not as many of them and they're kind of mixed sample pages. I might go in and move the strings eventually and have these pages just for fabric, but for now I'm okay with them. And then I've got my couple extra template pages. And then the rest of this book that I'm thinking I'm going to make another book to put things in is just overflow from journals that I want to keep longer than I keep my journals. So keeping track of books that I've read, different commonplace quotes and bits, and then random papers. So I've got some pictures and stuff. I'll skip there. Mail that I've gotten from different mailing subscriptions, cards I've been sent, pen pals and postcards all kind of get crammed in here with my samples. So I think I'm going to move all these other things, the photos and paper things, to a different book and make this one just my sample book. So that might be the video in a few weeks from now. So if you're interested in that, stick around. But for today, I am very happy with the organization of my samples. And now that I've got all these dye lots recorded, I can go ahead and warp my loom with all those yarns and get started weaving. That is it for today, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.